So I've gotten a lot of questions about the current ban list and updates to the metagame, and some potential claims or theories that Stax is now going to be great. But I have two arguments of why Stax is still going to be dead inside this format regardless of what these new bans are doing to the metagame. So my first argument is that cEDH is a very healthy format with a lot of different potential ways you can win the game. For argument's sake, let's pretend that there's only one deck that is available inside this format and there's only one combo everyone is going for, and that combo happens to be Flash and Hulk. If you're going into a match and all of your opponents are trying to win the game with specifically that combo, that Flash and Hulk, you can choose your Stax card to specifically target this one specific combo. And as everyone is playing Flash Hulk, your one Stax card, let's go Opposition Agent or even Mind Sensor, is completely shutting off everything they're doing. Or Grafdigger's Cage will also shut down the specific combo perfectly. Or Daffy Voidwalker will also work to shut down this combo. And in this scenario, your Stax cards are now affecting all of your free opponents. It's interacting with everyone. But in a healthy cEDH metagame, it doesn't really work the same way. Currently inside this format you have spellslinger decks like Dockside and Blue Farm that are trying to win with like Necropotence, Adnos and Underworld Breach. Here a Rule of Law will shut everything down. But then you have creature orientated combos like Sisei, Rocco that aren't really casting any spells. They will play through the Rule of Law without problems. And versus these commanders you need other Stax cards. A really good example here is, for example, Collector Oof. It will hurt all kinds of artifacts, so that's kinda going to hurt the Spellslinger decks somewhat. But it's not going to hurt any of the creature-orientated strategies one bit. This means that you're now king-making. You're putting Stax cards into play that is hurting 1 to 2 of your various opponents and leaving 1 to 2 other opponents unaffected to roam free. The person that is being hurt by the Stax effect is having to interact with you, removing the Stax effect, which means that this person is not going to attack the person that is unaffected by the Stax cards, which once again will lead you to attack one player. That person has to retaliate against you, and the people or opponents left unchecked will just continue with puzzling to get their combo victory. You see, the ultimate metagame of all free-for-all multiplayer formats is that you want one of your opponents to spend resources and time interacting and dealing with one of your other opponents, while you are left unchecked, leaning backwards and playing the Game of Thrones. And playing Stax in a very open, spread out meta, where there's a lot of different things you need to attack and deal with, means that you're going to attack one specific player, and that player is once again going to attack you, and now suddenly you're creating the perfect situation for one of your other opponents that you can't deal with. But now you're going to say, but Mons, what about if we just get enough Stax cards into play and we suddenly lock down everyone? That takes us to my argument number 2. If you're spending resources trying to shut down your opponents from winning the match, let's say you have an opposition agent, you have a collector in play, and let's say Daffy Voidwalker, something of the sort. You have anti-graveyard, anti-artifact and anti-search. Eventually your opponents are going to squeeze through. You see, something a lot of people have been optimizing towards inside this format is basically mulliganing or tutor for value engines like Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, the One Ring, and sometimes even getting their commanders into play that can draw cards as well. Or accumulate value in some shape or form. And a big problem I always see in every single archetype Stax strategy is that they're spending a lot of resources making no one being able to play, while they themselves aren't putting value engines into play either, and then suddenly one opponent is getting a value engine into play. That person can't really win at the game currently, but they are drawing so many cards that eventually they're going to find both mana, spot removal for all of those Stax cards, and their win con. Like, the best counter to Stax currently is just to find value engines like If someone puts, let's say, a opposition agent on the stack, cast your vamp tutor and find the one ring or heuristic study, and you've kinda solved the opposition agent stacks, not now, but eventually. So once again, someone cast opposition agent, another person cast the one ring will win. Now I'm not saying that Stax can't win any games and Stax will never win a single game. No. Of course not. Stax will win a game here and there, but overall it's going to be a, how I would like to say it, not recommended archetype to go for in the current metagame of a very healthy metagame. I can even go with something like this. Look at Modern, or look at any 1v1 format. All Stax cards are sideboard cards. You're not playing like opposition agent in your main deck. You're playing opposition agent in your sideboard. Or you're playing Grafdigger's Cage in your sideboard of your modern deck or something of the sort. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little rant about why I think that Stax is still not recommended. And even though the format might become slower, more turns, I still think that the format is a very healthy format, and that is actually the main reason that Stax will struggle. You can even slow it down further, and I won't change my mind on this, because it is the health of the format, the enormous deck diversity and commander diversity that is making Stax struggle, in my opinion. Take care guys, and I'll see you in the next one.